Well, hello there, James.
Hey, Charlie.
How goes it?
Dude, it's going great, man. How are you?
Fantastic. Doing well. Doing well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chattanooga FC pregame live show, tournament edition.
Hey,
We're presented by Workshop. I am Charlie Milburn, coming to you live from the official, my official Chattanooga FC remote studio, aka my house, or I guess back porch, to be a little more specific. The team is up in Detroit, settling into the bubble in preparation for our first game of the 2020 NISA Fall Tournament.
come on. I'm excited for this.
Let's
And
go.
tomorrow actually kicks off the first day of fall. And if the weather hadn't told me, I wouldn't have believed it because it felt like the longest summer of my life. My name is James Dawson. The match tomorrow, we're taking on the LA Force at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in to watch the game tomorrow. We're doing this show today, day early, to get everyone excited for the tournament. And tomorrow night at 8, we are going to be broadcasting live with BN Sports. This is huge. This will be our first broadcast with them. So check our social media channels for how you can tune in to keep up with us.
Absolutely. Homework for tonight, tomorrow, leading into the game is going to be figure out how to get BN Sports on your TV, your computer, your phone, however you consume the World Wide Web. You want to figure out how to get BN Sports on there so you can watch the boys in blue at 8 o'clock. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have got a very special guest tonight. We are going to be joined a little bit later on in the program by Richard Dixon, all-world defender for Chattanooga FC. He's going to be joining us. We're going to talk about the upcoming season, tournament that is, look back at the fall season, and so much more.
And first, Chattanooga FC, we want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Vibrant Meals. They provide fantastic, ready-to-eat, delicious, real food. It's made from scratch and it's portion controlled to meet your lifestyle. So be sure to check them out at myvibrantmeals.com. I've had their stuff before. It's absolutely fantastic.
It really is. They make some spectacular food, and it's healthy too. It's so great for the players, especially when they're able to do their post-game meals with Vibrant Meals. It's really nutritious, healthy food. Great stuff for them. We also want to give a shout out to our friends at ESPN Chattanooga Radio 105.1 The Zone. So make sure that you check them out for all coverage of local sports. And give them a listen. Lock them into your FM dial and rip off the knob, so to speak.
Let's talk, Charlie. We got to enjoy an awesome game in our last match.
That's true.
Versus the New Amsterdam FC down from New York. We ended our 2020 regular season with that match. We started off strong, and I mean, I don't know. We talked ahead of the game, obviously on our pregame show.
We did.
But we came out, and I mean, Zeka did what Zeka does. Absolutely clinical finish. But when you think about that goal, I mean, it was a long ball headed on. I believe it was headed on by Sean Hofstaffer. And then I don't even know if Zeka was looking. He played the defender off to his left. The goalie had no chance to cover the post. He didn't shoot it. He just passed it into the goal. New Amsterdam, they did put some threats together, but there was no final product. There was nothing to finish. Alec Reddington did have some key saves. There were some scrambles, to say the least. There was nothing that ever really felt pressing. So we had a 1-0 lead going into the locker room at halftime.
Absolutely. Yeah. Second half, CFC started out a little flat. New Amsterdam definitely got the pep talk that they needed to start off that second half. They were playing with their tails up, so to speak, and definitely gave our defense a good run for their money. Alec Reddington, I mean, what can you say about that guy? Just the mustache gives him superpowers, the likes of which we have not seen in quite some time. But the guy was just standing on his head, made some great saves. But, I mean, what Zeka Faraz in the 59th minute, another spectacular goal. He put us up 2-0. And it was a great ball from Juan Hernandez, if you remember, just cross field, right to left, huge distance. Zeka caught it on the fly and just made a great play. And then just 12 minutes later, Sean Hofstadter, who we didn't talk much about during the season because he was injured, but man, what a difference that guy has made since he has been back in the roster. And that was all she wrote. CFC took home the 3-0 victory. 3 points, and that win catapulted them in the span of, if you count the Cosmos and then the New Amsterdam teams, it shot them up from 4th place to 1st, number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference table, and just a head full of confidence going up to Detroit.
That game for me, it was the complete package. They needed to defend, and we talked about it in the pregame last week. New Amsterdam had absolutely nothing to lose. They were coming out to punch CFC in the face, and talking to Caleb Jackson, running into Soren with him as well. They told us, they said, look, these guys have some absolutely phenomenal athletes that can put defenders on their heels. And, to be able to keep the clean sheet, I never felt that a victory was in doubt, but that's the kind of team that's going to get that one goal, maybe get that second goal to make it seem like there's a real fight going on. And you're right with Sean Hofstadter not being present with a lot of previous games, coming in and showing his quality. That goal from Zeka that I saw this slow motion replay. He's getting taken down by like 3 guys.
Crazy.
I mean, the concentration and I mean, pure muscle memory for a striker. Two phenomenal striker goals from him. You love to see it for a guy that's been there for so long.
Yeah.
It's really easy to say Zeka, but Charlie, who was someone who really stood out in last match for you from a CFC standpoint?
Well, I mean, the easy answer, of course, would be Zeka. I would also say, Sean Hofstadter played a spectacular game, a goal and an assist from him. Playing on that right wing, he was making a lot of plays, making some things happen. Richard Dixon played a great game. He was getting into the middle of a lot of plays on the defensive side. They had switched, if memory serves, this was the game that we had switched from a back three to a back 4. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No,
but that's right. That's a defensive shift that, could take some getting used to. Backline didn't show it. They played great. And, New Amsterdam did give them some opportunities to slip up, did give them some chances to maybe put 1 or 2 behind it. But they held on and they played a great match. So I don't know. It's a toss up for me. I probably would go Hofstadter. But what do you think? How about you?
I was really impressed with David Koloko. I was really impressed with the way that he came in to anchor at the center defender in the midfield. He was playing that central role with a 3 in the midfield there, and he was trailing just in front of his back 4. I thought he did such a good job to anchor and find outlets. I mean, obviously that first goal, we got one with a long ball over the top, headed on. But for the rest of the game, I mean, that was a really pivotal point for stopping their attack from coming into the final third. And then also being able to clean up out of our back line and be able to give outlet passes. So I've been curious where Koloko was going to really find his footing, because he came out and he played defender, and then we saw him with that gorgeous assist to Jackson, and that was more of an attacking center mid. So to see him kind of sit a little bit deeper and be an anchor there, I got some Matt Aldred vibes, not going to lie. I thought he looked really, really good in the air.
Aldo, the legend of CFC from a couple of years ago, Matt Aldred, you're right.
That's right. And he's just not afraid of going on a challenge, which is what you love to see. Well, let's talk a little bit here, Charlie, about what's coming up next with this NISA fall tournament. LA Force. They're a relatively new club out of Los Angeles, California, and joining NISA just in August of 2019. That club was promoted, or it competed, in the Western Conference during the 2020 season, and they finished at the bottom of the table. So they had no wins, one draw and one loss with a 2-goal differential.
Yeah, they actually haven't scored a goal yet in
Oof.
NISA play. So not the result, not the fall season that they would have hoped for, certainly. But it's important to note the Western Conference, they only had 3 teams competing this year. So it was Oakland Roots and Cal United Strikers. It's really hard to gauge what their actual potential is going to be. Because there's no interplay this year between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We don't really have a team to compare them to. You could make the argument you could compare them to what they did against Roots. We tied Roots 1-1 in our first game, way back before the pandemic in February. But I would think that that's probably a different team, different everything from
it was a different
the games
world,
playing.
Charlie.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even remember what life was like before March 13th, 2020, but that's right. A whole different story. So I don't know. It's a toss up to me. Please tell me what you think. I don't really know. I'm optimistic by nature, so I want to be confident that CFC is going to bring home a victory in this first match, but it's impossible to say what this team is going to bring to the table. What do you think?
I mean, for me, this reminds me kind of a Europa or an early round Champions League where you've got clubs that you can't really compare. They haven't played the same teams. You don't know what the quality levels have been like between the clubs. So, for us to make an assumption that this is a team that's going to be a shoo-in, we have no idea if the competition they've been playing this season has been way, above where we are. We don't know. And so it really puts, I feel like, the managers on their heels to play to their strengths, to play smart. But I think this is a game that as we're watching tomorrow, we're really going to look for what kind of changes might be made at the halftime, because we're going to come out, I'm sure, with a strong lineup that served us well so far this season. We don't know what we're going to run into.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this, Charlie? I mean, how do you prep for a team? You have no idea where they might fall.
I think, it's a great question. I think, to your point, you just said it. You can't. You have to put your best team on the field, and you have to play your best game. And you have to play the way that you feel that you play the best. And now, luckily, Fuller has done a spectacular job of bringing in some depth and some quality, and getting some guys some looks in some different positions over the short season, and included in the Independent Cup before then. So I feel like he probably has a good handle on what we're going to do and what we're capable of. So I think he just has to take his best shot and put us in the position that he feels is the best one for us to get some points to get a result for sure. Let me ask you this question really quickly, because I know we want to get to Richard Dixon. Would you rather be playing the LA Force in your first match, or would you rather be playing our next match, which is 2 days later against New York Cosmos, a team that we played several times and we know to be very formidable? So which would you rather have, a team that you've never played before, or a team that you've played before and is extremely good?
Well, to know that we just bested the Cosmos, it's tough to beat a team twice. As a player, you win a game, and maybe it's because you had a better game plan going in. Maybe it's because you did switch up your formation to stop one of their players specifically. But halftime speeches are out the window in a rematch. You've had a lot more time to think through how you want to approach the game tactically. So I would love the blind game, because the blind game, both people are in the same category. When it's a game where you've beaten a team and they know exactly what you did to beat them, they're going to come out at your and hit you at your weaknesses. And the Cosmos were a team that defensively were able to hold the ball and hold possession. So if their team is, their management is able to find out where our weaknesses are, that's going to be a very challenging game to go in to play them again. So tomorrow night, before we play the Cosmos, we're going to play LA Force, and that's going to be on BN Sports. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time. 8 p.m. Eastern time on BN Sports. First time saying that.
BN Sport. Can you believe it?
I love it.
So cool. Well, tonight we are joined by a very special guest, CFC captain and defender, Richard Dixon, the pride of Jamaica. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the 2020 fall season that we just finished at top of the table of, and also the upcoming tournament and more. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the man himself, Mr. Richard Dixon. Hello, sir. Hey, Richard. I don't think we can hear you.
It probably helps if I unmute my mic, right?
It's the little things. It's the details. It's the details.
Right. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Perfect.
We can hear you great, man. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. How was the trip up to Michigan?
It was a long one, but we made it here safe, and that's all that counts. We're all here and we're safe, and just got a session in today. And ready to rock and roll tomorrow. So that's the most important thing, is everybody's healthy, everybody's safe in these moments.
Beautiful. Yeah. Clayton Adams did an Instagram takeover yesterday. And so we were able to witness some of the fun that you guys were having on the way up. And it looks like everybody was in great spirits. And it's good to see everybody up there happy and healthy. But now you all are in the bubble. So tell us what that's like, what your daily schedule is, and how you all are basically keeping sane, being locked in a bubble, so to speak, for the next 12 days.
Yeah, it's obviously different, than what we're used to. We're used to showing up the day before, or maybe a couple of days before a game, playing, and then leaving the day off, or night off, or the day after. Now we're in a different situation where there's really no blueprint of how do you survive and how do you go about succeeding in a bubble. So that's something that we talked about the moment that we got here was, hey, listen, there's no blueprint of how to do this. So the most important thing is that we all realize that we're in this together, and the only way that we're going to get through this with success and bringing back a trophy to Chattanooga is if we do it together, and we do it for one another, and we just keep encouraging one another when times get tough. Of course, guys are away from their families and friends and away from their homes and stuff like that. So we sense it will get tough in a few days, but so far it's been good.
Beautiful.
Well, Richard, tonight I want to talk to you about the fall season, the upcoming tournament. But before we kind of dive into that, I'm really curious to learn about your soccer journey. For those that don't know, how did you end up playing soccer, and what was your journey like to the States, and eventually ending up here with the Chattanooga FC?
Yeah, it's a long one. I'll try to speed through it. I grew up in Jamaica, obviously played soccer my entire life, soccer and track and cricket. Really decided to take it serious when I was around 12. And, that's when I made up my mind that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to become a professional soccer player. And so, made the switch there. I dropped cricket, and it was soccer in soccer season, and track in the off season. And, migrated to the U.S. when I was 16 after, making the youth national team in Jamaica and so on, and finished out my high school seasons in South Florida, which is where Coach Elliott saw me playing travel and high school soccer, and, took an interest to me, wanted to bring me up to West Florida. And luckily I made the choice to go there, had 4 great years there at West Florida, and I've been off playing professionally most places around the U.S. since then. I've been to Tampa. I played my first season there. Then I left Tampa, went to North Carolina for my second season. I spent 2 seasons after North Carolina in St. Louis, which is where I worked with our current managing director, Jeremy Allenbaugh. Left St. Louis to go to Oklahoma City, where I spent another 2 seasons. And from Oklahoma City, Energy FC, to Chattanooga, where I was on the other side. And now with CFC, that, the club that Coach Elliott has been trying to get me to play for the last 10 years. So it finally worked out, and we're both finally happy. So we're grateful.
That's great.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What a story. And of course, of all of those places, your favorite by far has got to be Chattanooga. No doubt.
To be fair, it's grown on us. Whenever at the end of last season, I was kind of in a place where we were trying to make a decision, and for me at that time, for once, I didn't have to make a decision solely based on my career. Before, it was, okay, season's over, where do I go next year? It could be Midwest, it could be Far West, it could be North, South, East, wherever. But in December, I had my daughter, my wife, and I. We had our first child, and it became now about life, and not just about soccer. And we both were in Chattanooga for exactly a year at that point. And, we sat down and we discussed, man, like, have we ever been into a place where we enjoy not just the people, but we actually enjoy the city itself? And Chattanooga was the place. When we looked at all the places, the potentials that we could move to for the next place, the next gig, Chattanooga checked all the boxes. We're both from I'm from Jamaica. My wife is from the Philippines. We both grew up in the country areas of our country. So we were in a lot of outdoor activities, rivers, beaches, mountains, and stuff like that. And Chattanooga, that was it for us. And
beautiful.
So yeah, we love Chattanooga. We love the people, and we're more grateful than ever to be here.
That's great. So switching to soccer, the reason that you're up in Detroit tonight, we just wrapped up the regular fall season. Top of the table, no better place to be. What are your overall thoughts about the team's performance looking back? Take us through maybe some strengths and weaknesses, and just some general thoughts about the fall season.
Yeah, looking back, I think obviously we played in a preseason tournament that the competition wasn't as strong. I think that we didn't get quite the challenge that we needed in the preseason tournament. Which is fine, it's what we had at the moment. And as you guys can see, we went into that first game, and it was sort of a shock to the system, kind of bring back to earth sort of moment where, all of a sudden the pace is up, the passes are flying around us, guys are as sharp as we are, they're as fit as we are, and they're also a cohesive unit. And so just not seeing something like that for so long, I think it worked to our detriment going into that first game against the Stars. And it showed, it showed. We're all over the place. But after coming back home and going back to the drawing boards, and, you've seen the progression of the team over the following 3 games. And it's just a testament to the group, and the players. I heard you guys talking about that last game and struggling to find a man of the match. And it's just a testament to the work and the effort that the guys put in. A line Coach Fuller always uses whenever he addresses us is, he's not looking for us to be the man. He's looking for us to be one of the men. So there's nobody on our team that's walking around with the chest puffed out. I'm the man. There's no playmakers on our team. We have 11 playmakers at any given time on the field. As you can see, the youngest player on our team, Alec Reddington, he comes in big time for us every game. Right through the back line, to the midfield, to Zeka up top. And so it just shows that it's a good group of guys that are hardworking with a good attitude, and it has paid dividends. As you guys can see, we stay. All the goals that the guys have scored in the last 3 games it's not by accident. These guys are staying with me after training 20 minutes every single day, doing extra finishing, just getting reps in front of the goal. Clay Adams scored a phenomenal goal against the Cosmos. That wasn't an accident, I can promise you. And there's no player that's more deserving than he is. And, Zeka scoring 2 the other night, that's no accident. It's the rep every single day after training. And, we break it down after every session with family in a huddle. Before every game, we break it down family, and that's what we live by. That's what we represent. And you see it when we go out on the field. When Zeka does his job, it makes Juan's job in the next layer easier. When Juan does his job, it makes our job in the next layer easier. When we do our job, it makes Alex's job easier in net. And that's how we want to show. We want to show unity, and we want to show a collective effort every time we go out there.
That's incredible, Richard. That team cohesion you see in sports at every single level. It can't be forced. It takes leaders on the team to instill that kind of accountability. You mentioned Alec. Obviously, I can't think of Alec without thinking of that cross ball he played to you when you played in Ian McGrath for the goal. Maybe one of my favorite goals that I've seen the team put together this year. That was absolutely insane. But you're right, that wasn't an accident. That wasn't a fluke. It was something that you guys, you have the chemistry to do, because not only do you work hard, but you're out there for each other, which is evident in the way you play. Going into a tournament like this, you as one of the more savvy vets on the team that's thinking through your strengths, what would you say are some of the weaknesses or areas of improvement that the team is focusing on going into this tournament?
Look, when you look at our roster, we don't have a experienced group. Many players on our team, it's their first year, it's their first time at being a professional. It's their, for all of us, it's our first time being in a bubble. And so one of the things I see being a weakness for us, which we have team meetings every week and stuff like that, and it's a part of our team principles, is just being a family and being supportive, being positive, and making sure that we're pushing each other and we're holding each other accountable. And I think if we do that more often than not, you'll see those little kinks with the inexperience and the little lapses, mental lapses, and just guys switching off and things like that. You'll see those things take care of themselves. But as far as looking at weaknesses, it's, I think the moment that we switch off as a team and we try to do things individually, that's when we can kind of get picked apart, which showed in the first game we played in the fall season. However, we've realized those mistakes, and we've been working on those things, day by day in training, week after week in team meetings and stuff like that. And it's been showing. It's been showing in the 3 games after. And so, as far as weaknesses on the field, I think we're really good whenever we do the things we're good at. And that's when we're defending, we defend as a team. When we're attacking, we attack as a team. We're in constant communication, and we're always matching the intensity of the other team. And then, if we can stay in the game until later on, the fitness and the quality football will take over. And I think the moment that we get away from those things, we leave ourselves susceptible to getting beat. And so that's a weakness that, us as a team, we know that it if we don't do those things, it could become to our detriment.
That's interesting. Thinking about preparation, how do you prepare differently from a match at Findlay, or even a 2-day trip to Detroit? How do you prepare differently for that sort of match versus a 12-day bubble sort of tournament? How do you prepare differently?
Right. So I think this first game, tomorrow, it will be a regular, road game. preparation. We came in yesterday, had a session today, getting some good meals and having a nice gym session afterwards. Guys are actually going to dinner right now. They're probably going to try to find me because I'm late. Hope
Oh
not.
no.
But guys having dinner and then just toning it down until tomorrow and going through that regular road game routine. So this first game will be a little bit more routine and more standard.
Mhm.
After that, then that's when it will become kind of hard because the 3 days on the road will kick in and guys will start to feel the legs, and they will start to miss the family and miss the wives and the girlfriends and stuff like that. So yeah, I think after this game, we'll start to see those little things kick in. But I think tomorrow is just a standard road game, and we just go in preparing as we would for a regular road game and just take care of business.
Well, you named it there, Richard. The lactic acid, the fatigue's going to catch up with a tournament like this. What is the game plan from the team standpoint to recuperate quickly with match after match in the bubble?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, at the end of the day, we're not special, we are in a situation that all the other teams are in. LA Force, they played last Wednesday like we did. They flew halfway across country. We drove up 11 hours. So we can't use those reasons as obstacles, right? Because at the end of the day, we both went through the same things. And so I think, for us, it's going to be more mental than physical for us because everybody's going to is going to be leggy. We both played on Wednesday. They traveled halfway across the country. We drove up. We're both going to play tomorrow in the same stadium, in the same situation. So there's no excuses. Now, after tomorrow, right, we're going to need to be doing the little things, the stretching sessions after the game. And then also on Wednesday, doing our ice baths, maybe doing our yogas and, constant hydration, and just, getting good rest, good sleep. And so after tomorrow, it's all going to be all mental because at the end of the day, we're all going through the same thing physically. So it's now how can we give ourselves a chance mentally to, to put ourselves at an advantage to make sure that we're mentally prepared for the next game while also physically taking care of our bodies the best way that we can.
So looking towards, we want to wrap up. We want to make sure you're able to get to dinner. I don't
No,
want
you
to
guys
keep you
are
late
good.
from dinner.
We'll
That's
be fine.
it's important. I don't want Fuller upset with us because we kept you
No,
late.
we'll be fine.
Give us some thoughts about LA Force, what you all know about them, what we can expect, what you're expecting tomorrow.
Right. Obviously, we haven't played them. They're in the other conference. We haven't been able to play them this year because of all the restrictions. What we've seen on video, it's a team that they'll sit in and absorb some pressure. They'll have they'll have their fullback step out and try to close our wingers and stuff like that. So there's different things like that. We're working on little different combination how we can exploit different things that we saw in video because at the end of the day we can just go off of what we saw in video, not playing them. But the fact still remains that we still just have to go out there and we have to play our best game. At the end of the day, we can't adjust too much based on what we see on video. We have to play to our strengths and we have to stick to our game plan. And if it happens that we have to adjust, whether it's changing formation on the fly in the game or, adjusting some different things tactically, we'll go ahead and do that. I think right now, going into this first game is just making sure that we do the things that we do often and do them well.
And this match, the LA Force, you're then going to go back and have to play against the Cosmos again, followed by the Cal United Strikers. Is this something where Coach Fuller has you all one game at a time, or have you guys had discussions on upcoming matches as well?
Right now, it's just one game at a time because at the end of the day, if we can't play Cosmos tomorrow, tomorrow we play LA Force, and that's the task that we have to put all the mental energy to and physically prepare ourselves And once we go in, the plan is just to go take 3 points from that game. And then after the final whistle tomorrow, then we'll worry about the next 90 minutes, which will be Cosmos. And so for right now, obviously we played Cosmos, a few weeks ago, and came away with a victory. We could have performed better, but I think in that moment we did what we needed to do to win the game, and that's just football. Sometimes you're gonna play teams that you need to defend a little bit. Other times you're gonna play teams that you're gonna need to break them down a little bit so you be on the ball a bit more. And so it's just making those smart decisions as players on the field and as a coaching staff, and I think we've done that. But tomorrow it's all LA Force. All the mental energy is going there, and physically we're just preparing ourselves for one game right now, and that's the mentality.
So who would you see as the biggest threat in the tournament?
It's tough to say. We looked at a game that was played today. We saw Michigan Stars beat Detroit 2-0. I think many would have favored Detroit going into that game, given that they're at home, and I think the odds were going in Detroit's favor. But again, they lost 2-0. And so as far as favorites, if you look at the table right now, we're in first place. Are we the favorite? Many people would say no. At the end of the day, it's just whoever goes in and on that day can get the job done. That's who takes home all the points. And it's just focusing on one game at a time, and that's the task at hand right now for us, and I'm sure it is for all the other teams too. As far as favorites, I couldn't tell you. All the focus right now and all the aim is on tomorrow's match.
Well,
That's right.
You know who our favorites are. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much, Richard.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us. Best of luck to you and the entire squad as you prepare for tomorrow night's match.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow. Yep. Take care.
We'll see
Good
you
luck.
then. So the reminder here, guys, we're going to be there will be doing a pregame live show the night before each match of this tournament. So make sure you tune in. We're going to be doing things like this where we break down the opponent that we may have played, might have not played ahead of time. We talk with a player to try and just gain some insight of what is the team mentality going into this. Charlie, I was blown away by the professionalism from Richard. I mean, absolutely what you would want to hear from one of your vets out there on the field. It's the game in front of you and nothing else matters. You're not thinking about favorites. You're just thinking about doing your job. That's really what it's all about. Yes, we've got games coming up on Thursday. It's going to be 7:30 on Thursday, if I believe, versus the New York Cosmos. Or is that going to be on Friday?
It's on Friday. So our show is at 7:30 on Thursday.
Brilliant.
And the game is against Cosmos. But yeah, you're right. I mean, every time I hear Richard open his mouth, I'm impressed. And the guy is just so solid, so down to earth, such a great player. I mean, you think about all the the plays that he's made on the offensive side, the plays he's made on the defensive side. I mean, he's really been such a strong force for us. And you have to think, he kind of touched on it, you have to think that part of his job as captain is going to be wrapping his arms around these guys that are first year in the pros, first year in NISA, and kind of pointing them in the right direction and making sure that they've got their heads on straight as we go through this slog together. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But that's all the time that we've got for tonight. So don't forget, you can watch CFC versus LA Force tomorrow, 8 o'clock, BN Sports. Don't forget your homework. Figure out how to watch BN Sports so you can watch the boys in blue play. And it's going to be fun. You can check out our social media pages tomorrow. We're going to have instructions on what to do. If you've got EPB, if you've got Amazon, you got Roku, no matter what you got, we've got you covered.
That's incredible. Well, let's go CFC. Let's get that W. Charlie,
right.
signing
James,
off from the home studio.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.